The Mavericks look to bounce back with a win against the Clippers tonight as they welcome back Anthony Davis to the lineup. We'll get you ready for tonight's game coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs. Appreciate you joining us here on our pregame show on DLLS Sports as your Dallas Mavericks take on the Los Angeles Clippers tonight in the second night of a back-to-back as they finish up their baseball series before the Mavericks return home on Wednesday to take on the Lakers. We'll get you ready for tonight's game over the course of the next half hour, let you know who's in, who's out. We'll focus in on our Mavericks player spotlight as well as we get you ready for tonight's game on this Saturday night, gentlemen, as the Dallas Mavericks, who are at this point in the season playing game number 79, 38-40 on the year, 17-23 away from the American Airlines Center, take on a Clippers team, 45-32 on the year, 27-11 at home inside Intuit Dome, where the Clippers are tonight an 8.5-point favorite with the over-under at 220.5. The game time tonight, of course, at 9:30 p.m. If you're going to be watching the game, you can watch it on KFAA Channel 29 and also on Mavericks television as well. Gentlemen, how are we feeling on this Saturday evening?
You always say DLLS Mavs Nation.
That's
Are
right.
we really a nation?
We
I
are.
always thought of it more as a coalition, maybe even autonomous zone. You know, like everybody's kind of carved out their own space, you know, like it's not quite, it's kind of an anarchical system, but everybody gets along, everybody helps each other out. No,
I think calling it a nation is actually underselling it. This is a movement. This is an international phenomenon.
Okay, well, movement would very much align with.
Well, this is something that transcends
Autonomous zone.
borders, Kevin and Tim. I mean, quite frankly, like we're a worldwide
what autonomous zones
sensation.
are supposed to do. They're
A
supposed to
worldwide-
do without borders.
worldwide-
They're supposed to do without structure. and
Worldwide,
say,
across the world,
we set our own structure.
around the entire world.
Okay.
See, but if I did the open as, hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs movement, that's a little lengthy. So to kind of capture the essence of
You can call it a movie.
well, this season's been a horror show. That's for damn sure.
DLLSMM.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You see why I go with nation now? Because it just kind of just is a broad encapsulation of who we are.
How about horde?
Wait, what? But we are a movement, and we're moving toward 20,000 subscribers here at DLLS Sports. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while you are here as well as the Mavericks take on the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. Interestingly enough, Kawhi Leonard is going to play for the Los Angeles Clippers. He is playing in his first back-to-back. Check this out. Since March of 2024, he will welcome Anthony Davis, who is returning back to the lineup tonight after missing last night's game as he sat on the first night of the back-to-back. Let's get you where these teams are coming into tonight. Of course, the Mavericks sit ninth in the Western Conference, just a half game now ahead of the Sacramento Kings for that 9 spot. They are 2.5 games ahead of the Phoenix Suns, who are currently in 11th. They've lost 5 straight games, have the Phoenix Suns. Dallas 3-2 in their last 5, 5-5 overall in their last 10 after last night's loss, of course, to the Clippers. Mavericks now 23-26 on the year against the Western Conference and just 14-25 against teams above 500. They finished up their baseball series tonight with the Clippers before they return home on Wednesday to take on the Lakers, and then on Friday when they take on the Toronto Raptors for their final 2 games at home this regular season. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Clippers 7th in the West coming into tonight, just 2 games behind the Lakers, who were the 3 seed, and just 1 game behind the Golden State Warriors right now, who are currently the 5 seed out west. They've won 3 straight games, 8 of their last 10 and 13 of their last 16 games overall. A hot Clippers team once again coming into tonight. They're 24-23 against the Western Conference so far this year and 31-10 against teams below 500. They are currently 2-0 on what is their 5-game homestand right now, which will continue on Tuesday on the first night of a back-to-back when they take on the Spurs and then they will continue that the very next day. That gets us to some information from our guy Bobby Curley, because obviously Anthony Davis back in the lineup tonight. No Jaden Hardy, as he sprained his right ankle again last night, so he will not be available. And Bobby, with the limited amount of guards that are available, Jason Kidd talking about the idea of Anthony Davis bringing up the ball a little bit more. What could that mean for the offense for the Dallas Mavericks tonight?
He's already been doing that quite a bit this year, like this week. He hasn't played in many games for the Mavs, but he's been
24th.
Yeah, he's been bringing the ball up quite a bit. So this year, the Mavs are, as a team, averaging 1.152 points per possession. Now, that's for the entire season. This according to Second Spectrum. That includes any players on the floor, off the floor. That's the whole team. So far with the Mavs, AD has brought the ball up the floor 43 times. And the Mavs have scored 1.075 points per possession in those opportunities, which isn't great. It's like kind of but
1.05?
1.075. But think who he's been on the floor with a lot. Like, he's played one quarter with Kyrie, or 2 quarters or whatever it was with Kyrie. He's played none with any of the other Mavs guards outside of Spencer Dinwiddie and Jaden Hardy. I don't even know if he's played with Dante Exum. Like, it's been very, very, very few playmakers out there with AD. And, when he's brought the ball up the floor, the Mavs' average length of possession is 16.1 seconds. For the season, the Mavs' average possession is 14.5 seconds long. So when he brings the ball up the floor, it takes them longer to get in the offense, and generally they're a little less efficient. But the only other alternative is run your entire offense all the time through Spencer Dinwiddie or through Jaden Hardy or whoever the guard is out on the floor, Max Christie or Brandon Williams in the few games that they got to play together, or Najee Marshall now. And it is hurting them, in terms of efficiency. But again, there aren't really many other options at all. Even AD and PJ haven't played together much because there's minutes restrictions and PJ's been out. So there's really been no semblance of consistency. The one good thing that happens whenever AD brings the ball up the floor as opposed to a guard is, given the Mavs' relative lack of spacing. So you have a big, you have AD, and then you have PJ Washington. Those are like your 3 through 5. That's your front court. None of those guys are really highly regarded three-point shooters. And so if you started the possession with PJ in the corner, say, and then like AD somewhere floating around and then a big in the dunker spot, that's not a lot of space, underneath for anything to happen. And so whenever AD is bringing the ball up the floor, generally teams are going to put either their best defender or their tallest defender on AD. So you're pulling that guy away from the rim and allowing some stuff to happen underneath, or you can flow right into a dribble handoff. So I actually like it for the most part, even though we haven't seen the results. But again, I'm chalking the results up to, first off, few reps, but also general lack of talent around him on a lot of these possessions.
And you see it. The biggest issue with the Mavs offense is they're not taking threes. They're not taking threes at all. From the moment Kyrie went down to the moment that Anthony Davis made his return, Dallas was shooting 34 threes a game, which was sixth fewest in the NBA, because taking a bunch of threes is not inherently good. But it was 6th fewest in the NBA since Anthony Davis has come back. 26 threes a game.
It's not a lot.
That is by far the lowest figure in that time span. Or, just for the entire league. There's nobody taking 26 threes a game. Everybody. The next closest, 30.6. So Dallas is a full 4-3, more than 4 attempts per game, fewer than the next closest team. They are by far the lowest. And you can say this team should just take more threes, but they're not consistently generating them, and they don't have the players to. And this was always going to be an issue, even if the team stayed healthy. I don't know who's supposed to be out there and take them for this team. Kyrie would take some more. Kyrie would help the team take some more. But beyond Kyrie, obviously Clay, and where else are you getting a steady diet of threes? Who else are you looking at in the entire lineup who's, any given night, like more often than not, can get 5 up? Are you confident that somebody is willing to take 5? PJ a little bit,
Spence is willing to take them. That's for damn sure.
Kind of. Like he's willing to take some step backs here and there. Certainly he's certainly a willing catch and shoot guy. But
how many threes did you say per game?
26.4 since Anthony Davis come back. That's a sample size of 7 games. Super small.
That would have ranked 6th in the NBA 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So like that wouldn't have even led the league a decade ago. That's a distant 30th this year. I mean, it's really, 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 really hard to outscore teams whenever you're only taking 26 threes. It's just so hard to do that.
Yeah, that math doesn't work. Especially
we saw it the other night. Which
Brooklyn.
game was it? It was against Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn
they just
took
spammed
50, made 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn took 50, made 20. The Mavs took 30, they made 10. The Mavs got outscored by 33 points just on threes.
Yeah.
It's so hard to make those points up.
They're dead last. Like, even if you change the qualifiers, you say since the game Kyrie got hurt. They're also taking the fewest threes. It's 31, or rounds up to 31. But ever since Kyrie got hurt and Anthony Davis' return has not helped, in fact, it's hindered, this team does not consistently generate threes. And threes, like it or not, that is the lifeblood of an NBA offense. You have to get a bunch of them up, because at minimum, because you have to earn the respect of teams to be able to get to the rim. To get, we talked about how Dallas, a couple games ago, they made everything at the rim against Atlanta. They shot 90% at the rim. They limited Atlanta to about 40%. Just a enormous advantage there.
Still almost lost the game.
Still almost lost the game, but also still didn't take a lot of shots at the rim. I don't know. At some point, it doesn't matter how big you are. Teams are just going to inch closer and closer and closer. I've seen a lot of teams. I mean, pretty much everybody in the NBA plays with a kind of a 2-3 shell. Kind of a zone shell that protects the rim. But more and more teams are actually I think teams are actually just going to play 2-3 zones against Dallas.
And dare them to shoot.
Yeah, because you're just you're not as fearful. And one of the problems is that your best wing defender, a guy who really makes the rim protection make sense, is Caleb Martin. He's somebody who, how many threes has he taken since he?
Not many. What are the Mavs shooting from 3 during that time?
35%. In the past 7 games, they're shooting 35%. Since it's right here. Since the game Kyrie got hurt, they're shooting 35%.
Okay,
which is fine.
35% is all right, but
it's bottom 10, but it's 21st. It's 20 is the 21st best shooting percentage in that span, and that span is 17 games.
This was after the Brooklyn game. There was a commenter on our post game, KG. Tim, you were in the arena that night, right? Because that was a home game, so it was mostly me and KG, and KG, you and I, in like the first or second segment, we were talking about the math game, just how hard it is to win. And I appreciated this guy's opinion. He basically said, look, I'm kind of old school. I prefer defense, and I prefer being able to dominate around the rim at both ends of the floor, because before the Mavs were taking a ton of threes, but they weren't really protecting the rim very well, and they weren't getting a lot of points at the paint because teams were taking away the lob. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't respond to the comment, but I see what that guy's saying, but I started doing some research, and this Mavs team, their stated goal is to win the title. Yeah. And disregard quantity of threes because everyone's taking more than they used to, so it's almost irrelevant to even compare. But of the last 15 champions, so this goes all the way back to when the Mavs won the title, and even the year before that, 09-10, whenever the Lakers won their final one with Phil Jackson, 14 of the last 15 NBA champions ranked top 10 in the league in three-point percentage. Only 7 of the top 15 last champions ranked top 10 in points in the paint per game. And a lot of those were closer to 2010 than they were to 2025.
Oh, wow.
More and more, the game is being stretched out. There's more and more space. And it's not only the fact that you are taking the threes, it's that you have credible shooters, which stretches and bends the defense in ways that makes it easier to get to the lane and easier to finish so that teams can't sit in the shell against you. So you have to have the threat of the outside shot. You can't really do the thing anymore where you're so good around the rim that it opens things up on the perimeter. Teams just aren't really going to react the way that they would have 15, 20, 30 years ago. So you have to be able to present a threat from anywhere on the floor. That's why being a point guard is so tough, and Rick Carlisle was saying this for years, back whenever Monte was on the team. This is more than 10 years ago now. He was saying, as a point guard, you have to be a threat to shoot off a screen no matter where you are. It can't just be right around the rim. It's got to be 30 feet out from the rim. And back then, I was like, oh, my God, this is incredible. And everyone else is kind of like, I mean, I don't really get what he's saying. But now you see it. If you have the ball in your hands and you're not a threat to shoot, the defense is just like complete disrespect for you. and it bogs everything down. It's really, really tough.
Briefly, and we'll break. But it was really funny.
It better be funny.
going back when people were like, can a jump shooting star win a championship? And they did that with Dirk, forgetting that the Celtics had just won, and pretty much all three of those guys were jump shooting stars. And then they also forgot once again when the Warriors were trying to win and Steph was trying to win. And it's just now it's all that matters. Now everybody knows it's all that matters.
Yeah, but they were saying
Hell, see Boston just a year ago.
Weirdly, they didn't say any of that at all about LeBron and the Heat or the Spurs when they won in like 2013 and 2014. They played each other in the finals 2 years in a row. There was just a jump shooting fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome, but basketball was great.
Yeah, but LeBron dunks.
Yeah, dunks are cool.
Yeah.
Dunks are cool.
Yeah.
But they were shooting an ton of threes, and that was an incredible Heat team. One of the best teams I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
When we come back, we will let you know who's in, who's out. We'll focus in on Mavericks player spotlight as well and get you some X factors going into tonight's game. But before that, let's help you win some money tonight when it comes to Sleeper.
It's time to stop the skid, man. It has been a rough last few games for me. A lot of different people are letting me down, so I'm going with the people I can count on the most tonight. Anthony Davis, at least 20 points. I think he's going to have a good game. Ivica Zubac, he's going to get me a double-double. And then P.J. Washington is going to get at least 20 points plus rebounds plus assists. On Sleeper, the more you play, the more you pick, the more you win, all the way up to 100 times your money thanks to their multipliers. My multiplier tonight is 2.4. Jeez. So my $5 play, if I win, would net me $12 of cold, hard cash and get me back in the win column where I desperately need and frankly deserve to be. And if you want to play along with me, use promo code DLLS Mavs whenever you set up an account on Sleeper. Play $5 to get $55 in free plays to use any place, anytime. Just check out the terms and conditions before you do.
John P., we need a scouting report of Monte's team that he coaches.
Yeah.
How many long twos do they take?
John P., MFFL saying, I just saw Monte Ellis today. He coached against my daughter's basketball team. We only lost by 5. Okay. Need to know how that went down. By the way, really, you shortened conditions?
I did. I wanted to see your reaction, and it worked.
Yeah, it definitely worked for sure. Mavericks trying to bounce back after getting clobbered last night by the Clippers in a game where Los Angeles led by as many as 35 points. Clippers looking to win the season series tonight after taking 2 of the first 3 games against the Mavericks so far this year. Remember, a win is important for Dallas tonight to maintain their edge in the 9th spot in the Western Conference. A loss tonight would drop them back to 10th, even though they would have what would be essentially the same record as the Kings, but the Sacramento Kings have the tiebreaker currently over the Dallas Mavericks. So a loss would drop them back to 10th and put the Kings in 9th with just a few games to go in the regular season. Let's let you know who is in and who's out tonight for both of these teams. Let's start with the opponent in the Los Angeles Clippers. Amir Coffey, he is out tonight with left knee inflammation. But Kawhi Leonard is playing tonight. He only played 24 minutes last night. Ty Lue saying prior to tonight's game that Kawhi Leonard is going to play. He's going to be on a 25 to 30-minute restriction. He is playing in his first back-to-back since March of 2024. So Kawhi Leonard is available and good to go tonight for the Los Angeles Clippers after playing, as I mentioned, just 24 minutes last night. Meanwhile, for your Dallas Mavericks, Anthony Davis is available and good to go with the left adductor strain. He sat out the first night of the back-to-back last night against the Clippers. Dereck Lively, he is also available as he's dealing with the right ankle stress fracture injury management there. He will be on what is a 15-minute restriction himself. Daniel Gafford has been ruled out for tonight's game with the right knee sprain. Jaden Hardy is also out with the right ankle sprain for him. Caleb Martin is available as he continues to play through the right hip strain that he has. And P.J. Washington popped up on the injury report going into tonight's game with the left ankle sprain, but he is available and good to go tonight. Klay Thompson, who left last night's game in the second half due to illness, was not listed on the injury report at all, so he is okay to play for tonight's
Another
game.
new starting lineup tonight. 45th of the year. They can't break the record anymore, can they?
I
don't think that
Isn't it 50?
Yeah, it was 50.
Fifth, yeah.
Yeah.
50.
Damn.
So they
That's
will
like
not.
all that there was left
What
to
did they
play
have that
for.
was a repeat?
They used the. This is a while back. They had Max Christie, Kessler Edwards, Dante Exum, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson twice in a row.
Annoying.
So
By the way,
I was gonna say, who is the starting 5?
Oh, and they had a repeat of AD, Dinwiddie, Kai Jones, Klay Thompson, and PJ. The starting five tonight, according to Luke, is Dinwiddie, Klay, PJ, AD, Lively.
Very
Okay.
nice.
So this is probably the most accurate depiction of what their starting five would have been if healthy. Only substitute Kyrie in for Dinwiddie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, of course, with Dereck Lively on the minutes restriction that he's going to play 3-4 minute bursts as the night goes on. Anthony Davis continuing to get his minutes extended more and more as we get deeper into the regular season. So interested to see how that will play out tonight.
By the way, I pulled up I actually have 2 Caleb Martin stats for you.
Sure, go ahead.
I was saying how many threes has he taken. He's played 10 games for the Mavericks. Would you guys like to guess how many threes?
1.5.
2.
He's taken
Total.
8. So
8
he's taken,
total?
Yeah, 8
That's
total.
a lot more than I thought. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 8 total threes in 10 games. He's made 2 of them.
Oh, so it is almost. Oh, I guess 1.5 per game is what I was saying.
Yeah,
So I
but
guess
he's taken even fewer than that.
that's crazy.
I also wanted to say that the total amount of points he has scored in a Dallas Mavericks uniform is 45, which is 1 point fewer than Quentin Grimes' career high. what Quentin Grimes did in 1 game.
Najee Marshall is the focus of our Mavericks player spotlight tonight as he led the Mavericks last night with 22 points against the Los Angeles Clippers, going 8 of 14 from the field. In his last 10 games, Najee Marshall averaging nearly 17 points per game while shooting nearly 56% from the field, 6.5 rebounds per contest, and nearly 4 assists per contest for the Dallas Mavericks. That was really depressing, Tim, what you just said there. I'm not even going to lie. That was extremely depressing. The idea that Caleb Martin has 45 points, which is 1 shy of Quentin Grimes' career high. That's
Well,
insane.
I mean,
That's insane.
he's only played 186 minutes.
No, I know. I'm just saying, though. It's just crazy. In the chat, are we going to talk about Daniel Craig tonight? Who knows, depending on what happens in tonight's game.
Who?
Daniel Craig,
Oh, because movies?
the actor,
Yeah.
movies.
Right, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Bobby,
is this the same reality that I was in yesterday? Like,
we were talking about brothers last night. And he's like, "Is that Torrey has a brother in the NBA?"
yeah.
Man, we were racking our brains last night trying to figure out the 16 sets of brothers that are in the NBA before Mark Follow revealed it to us on the
Cam and Pat
broadcast.
Spencer, baby.
Yeah, that was a deep cut that you came up with because I had no idea about that one, but it is what it is. Let's check out some X factors going into tonight's game. And Tanner's right. Hopefully we don't need non-basketball conversations like we did last night after the beatdown of the Clippers getting the Mavericks. Let's start with this one. You cannot let the Los Angeles Clippers convert off of turnovers. They're 3rd in the NBA this year, gentlemen, in points off turnovers, averaging over 19 points a game in that department. We saw that last night in terms of how the defense of the Los Angeles Clippers, which is number 3 in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, actually is up to number 2 coming into tonight now after last night's game. So number 2 in defensive rating this year. We saw last night, gentlemen, how that defense really got after. Yes, it was a shorthanded Mavericks team, but at the same time, this has been an MO of the Los Angeles Clippers and how well they are defensively night in and night out.
On the flip side, Dallas has been good this season at not allowing a lot of points in transition. They're about middle of the pack in terms of like the number of fast break opportunities they give up, but they're considered 4th in the amount of points they actually give up in those situations. But I don't know. This team has changed so many times and has so many different variations. I have no clue what to take from that. I think they're generally. I think Jason Kidd generally has them coached well, not to allow transition stuff, and it's really just. But I mean, early in the year, they're helped because Luka was primary ball handler. He never turned it over, and then Kyrie was also a very secure ball handler. So they're much more susceptible to it now that you've got God knows who, running second units.
Sure.
And Spencer is actually very ball secure. I know that Bobby especially, I know that he considers some of Spencer Dinwiddie's shot attempts to essentially be turnovers, but they are better than turnovers in the sense that at least they go up on the rim and it's not an instant fast break the other way. So, well, sometimes they go up on the rim, but it at least lets
Sometimes
you
they
set
fall
up.
short of the rim.
Sometimes they go over the basket.
Right. Sometimes they hit the shot clock.
Didn't that one go in though? Wasn't that the thing? The one that hits the shot clock, it actually falls back in.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
He has done that once, I believe.
Yeah, he did that recently. It might not be that shot, but it hit the shot clock. It was out of bounds because it hit the shot clock, but then it falls back in.
The ultimate, this is going to just be a turnover thing. There have been a few throughout Mavs history, and I could come up with a complete list. Maybe I'll do that for the postgame. But my least favorite occurrence in Mavs history, and shout out to my guy Devin Harris, great dude. Loved watching him in all of his stints with the Mavs. But during the 13-14 season, Rick gave him every single 2-for-1 whenever he was on the floor. And he missed all Devin.
Oh, Devin. Okay.
And Devin missed. He was either 0-for-17 or 0-for-18 on 2-for-1 threes that season. And I was like, this is just, it's never going to happen. Please stop doing it. You know, it was the PJ Washington post up.
Right.
It was the Dinwiddie step back three. It's like, it's just not going to work. Just stop.
I thought you were talking about actual turnovers, and I was going to say Jaden Hardy trying to cross somebody over right at the half court line.
Oh,
I just don't want to see that again.
Well, you probably won't this year.
I won't, unfortunately.
The two things
I retract that. I don't like speaking ill of.
He's not dead.
Right. Like, relax, Tim.
He's very handsomely paid.
Right.
He might have played his last game in a Mavericks uniform.
Maybe.
Ooh,
it's possible.
It's possible.
Speaking of Jaden Hardy, there are two things this year that have just torn me to pieces every time it happens. Jaden Hardy fouling three-point shooters. I'm over that bit. And also, why do teams consistently foul Spencer Dinwiddie on these one-handed mid-range floaters that he takes? It happens at least 3 or 4 times a game. I was like, can y'all stop fouling? That's a low percentage shot. A elbow floater with one hand is not a great place to foul a player.
Well, he goes into it once they make contact.
He goes into it also anytime.
He's duping them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, stop falling for that. Almost.
Well, the defenders aren't. The defenders aren't. It's like, why does Dame do that jump around the screen 40 feet from the rim and just fling that S up there? And it pisses me off to no end that he gets the benefit of the doubt on that nonsense, non-basketball BS. But it's because the guy's touching him, so he does.
Yeah.
I will say that. I mean, I still don't like watching it. I still don't like that it's rewarded with a whistle. I do think often on those plays, on those Spencer plays you're talking about, he goes up the moment the defender puts an arm across him. Now, if he was playing, that would never, it's never in a way that would be called if he just kept driving to the basket, which is what he was doing. And, if he continued driving to the basket, he probably wouldn't actually have like a layup or anything. But a lot of the times he at least, sometimes he does initiate. Sometimes he leans in and initiates, absolutely. Sometimes he just instantly reacts to a defender making light enough contact with him that it would never be whistled. But if he goes up for a shot attempt, the referee is going to be like, well, you were shooting and you didn't have a chance to make that shot because the guy's arm was, right here.
Yeah.
And you're just like rising up through it.
Hey! We might.
Although sometimes he doesn't get that foul call, and then he does like.
Oh my gosh!
He brings his arm like really out wide.
Yes.
Like this kind of thing. Luka was like a clapper, like come on, kind of like he'll like stay refrained. But Spencer's like
the Spencer Dinwiddie complaint is one of the worst in the NBA. I don't like it. That might have to be a segment one day too, is where we just ask all the basketball questions. Like, what the hell's a continuation now these days? Like, I don't get it.
No one knows. It's just all about vibes, dude.
Yeah, it varies from referee to ref, game to game. It feels like, but that might be something to explore at some point down the road. Last one here. Got to try to create some second chance opportunities. I'm interested to watch Anthony Davis versus Ivica Zubac tonight when it comes to the big man in the middle. The Clippers are number 2 in the NBA this year, only giving up 12.4 second chance points per game to their opponents. The last time Anthony Davis faced off against Ivica Zubac went for 21-19 against Anthony Davis. So I'm interested to see how that big man matchup goes between them tonight, with them being in the middle. It's game time. For your Dallas Mavericks.
Is that a threat?
It's game time, damn it.
No, you can't make me do this again.
You know what? Your energy level was much better tonight for the pregame show, I will say. Much better tonight than was last night. I had
a nice wholesome meal today for dinner. I had some salmon and some asparagus.
Okay.
And I'm feeling revitalized.
I had 6 tacos.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Where? Don't tell me where. Don't say where.
Small. And I didn't really eat lunch.
That was a lot of tacos.
Or breakfast.
Oh, so you had to make.
You should always eat breakfast. Changed my life when I became a breakfast guy.
Oh, same.
And I don't even eat big breakfast.
It's a great take, Bobby.
I meant to be breakfast. I just didn't happen.
Never skip brekkie.
We appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Appreciate you, sir. That's our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. That is our Mavericks writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you post-game 15 minutes after the final buzzer tonight. Our National NBA insider, Mark Stein, will be joining us on the show as well as your Mavericks take on the Los Angeles Clippers. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you then.
Good evening.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.